We're doing Likkutei Sichos Chelek Gimel Parshas Chukas Sichal. We're holding base Hey. Before we go weiter, I just wanted to mention one thing b'kesher to what we said in the previous year. We mentioned the other year. It's a discussion about Shutfim who write a Sefer Torah b'Shutfis if he hates the mitzvah of Ksiva Sefer Torah. I mentioned that I wasn't sure if I didn't remember if the Rebbe spoke about it or not. But I found after the Rebbe says in Likkutei Sichos Chelek Chavdaled Parshas Vayelach. There's a discussion over there. You could look at that Sicha. It was but before that, in the Maimon Samachvav talks about two people who did a mitzvah b'shutfis, that even though they did the mitzvah b'shutfis, they have the whole mitzvah. It's hard to understand what's the dugma for it. That's why I tried to give a dugma from two people who write a Sefer Torah b'shutfis. I saw lately there was printed a tshuva from different letters from my Eltazei, the Rabbi Moshe Gourarie, and he talks actually about this Maimon in Samachvav, the Maimon that the Rebbe brings over here. It's the Maimon Shemayim Kisif Tavish Samaches, it's in Hemshah Samachvav. He has a long arichas on the Nyanim there, and he also stuck with what does it mean, mitzvahs b'shut for me. He tries to give a dugma, he says maybe it means two people which are isik b'shutfis and the yin of atzalos nefashis. Yesh loden about that dugma. That's a dugma that brings out the scene. Now, Kapanim, that's not all a side point which is not negate the Gufa Sicha. Let's go back to the Chelek to Eis Hey. So what we said before, that all mitzvahs are rotzen, even mitzvahs have a time be'emes b'mahus on the rotzen, even when the mislabash on the time they remain, the mahus of the mitzvah remains the union of rotzen. Rotzen doesn't have a schalkus. Really, even if the smallest prat is missing, you have nothing. And fakeret, sometimes when the Torah says that, like a shutfis, that if you do a little bit, you have the mitzvah, it's not the pshat, you have a chelik in the mitzvah, you have the whole mitzvah. There's no middle ground. Rotzen there's no middle ground. Other, if you're missing a prat, you have nothing. Other, by having a certain amount, you have the entire thing. That's how it works by Ratzin. And Zeis Chukas HaTorah means that the paraduma, which is clearly a union of Ratzin Shalamayla Matam, Zeis Chukas HaTorah. It's telling us that every single mitzvah be'etzem is Chukas HaTorah is exactly like the paraduma Ratzin Shalamayla Matam. So Ebba's going to bring out now in Sifei that we see B'chlal and Tumah Torah. This union is very bailat by Tumah Torah, that a little bit is the same as the whole thing. There's no difference between a little bit and a lot. Just like by Ratzon, we said one prat missing is like you don't have the whole thing, or if one amount is enough, then it's the entire thing. This union is bail by Tumah Torah. Like we said in Sif Aleph, that Zeis Chukas HaTorah, according to the Medrash, is not talking about Dafkit Paraduma. It's talking about Tumah Torah B'chlal. Memela, even though B'Pashas Zeis Chukas HaTorah is talking about Paraduma, but we can bring Dugmois from B'chlal from the Dinim of Tumah Torah that bring out this Nekuda about Ratzin. That Ratzin is L'mayla Mechachma, Ratzin is L'mayla Meschalkus. Okay, in Nekuda Zu, Mizbataz B'chlal Sadin Tumah Torah, Kanal Sif Aleph Zeis Chukas HaTorah, Koi Gam Al Kol Tumas V'Tairis. Number one, Min HaTorah, Yefshe Shatuma Tach L'rak Al Miktis HaGuf. Min HaTorah, but the Rabbanan, there is such a, like, it brings in the order, there's Tumas Yadayim. Min HaTorah HaKapanim, there's no such thing as a chelik of the Guf becoming tummy and the rest not. Noga Adam, Be'echad Me'evrav, B'davar HaMetame, is dit why this is a Kol HaGuf. If one of the Evrim of a person touched something which is Metame, it's not the pshat that only that Evra that touched the Davar HaMetame becomes tummy, the entire Guf becomes tummy. Another Indian, Adam Nitva, Idin Gia Koshi Batum. Haino, Rak Shaychis Chitzenis, V'shitchis LaDavar HaMetame. B'chol Zeis, Nitma Hu, Aideza Be'ez HaTeikev, Shu Nitma Achilasa Davitam. Achila is Inye Pnimi. The Rebbe is saying in Likkutei Torah. It says over there in Likkutei Torah that there's a shaychus, a person can have a shaychus pnimi teinion of klipa, and a person can have a shaychus and a even makif teinion of klipa. Shaychus pnimi teinion of klipa, so derech a person eats chaylev, you ate it nasa dam kipsar, it becomes a part of it. Shaychus and a even of makif is like when a person touches a davar tam. It's only a negia, it's a davar makif, you didn't become part of you, it stayed removed from you, you have a shaychus tid, but even makif you have a shaychus tid. What do you see from that? If lepel negia is inyan makiv, and lepel the halacha is by tumah that there's no difference if you would eat it or if you touch it. In other words, it doesn't affect, you don't become more tameh by eating it, even though l'chura eating is having a shaychas primis today. Comes mamish dam kipsar. So you see that it doesn't matter what kind of negia it is, the shvachste negia, or a deeper negia, a deeper schabros, where you become mechuber to the inyan beifim pnimi, whether it's a negia and a eifin of makif, or whether it's a schabros beifim pnimi like achila, you come the same time. You become the same amount of tumah, the same gather of tumah. There's no difference in the level of tumah that you have. Be'im keser, benegiyah zo atz ve'inaf kimine bin shenage b'mezid, b'shege afil beinis drachmana patre. Simeres leirak negia kosher begashmis, al afil kashagam beruchnis lahais zes kim negia shaychas ercheke meid, shayis shlebe kavanas gam hepech retzene, bechol zes nit mal yod. Says besides for the difference in gashmis, if you touched it or you ate it, in touching gufa, even if it's the same mice of touching, there's a chilek of how much your nefesh was involved in this touching. And a person does something b'mezid was beratzen. If it was beratzen, that means his whole emek pnimius nafshe was involved in touching this inyan of tum. When someone does something b'shegeg, let's say he didn't realize this inyan was a davar atame, so ba'etzem he doesn't want to touch tum. He touched this thing because he didn't realize this was a davar amatam. Kumtachei that is, it's not that libe was not balime, it wasn't his whole ratzon wasn't there b'shas that he touched the davar amatam. So it's more of a chitzeni sticker touch. If someone does something ba'enis, it's even more. What's the reason why Eines Rachmana Patre? One of the Esbedim is that a Maisa that was done by Eines, because you didn't want to do the Maisa B'chlal, says Shegeg, you wanted to do the Maisa. You just didn't realize you made a mistake what you're doing. You didn't realize it's a Davar HaMatam. That's a Maisa you wanted to do. Eines is, you didn't want to do that, it's a Maisa B'chlal. Someone forced you, whatever it is. It was done, the Maisa was done Shalei B'ratzin. Is a Maisa which was done Shalei B'ratzin, it's like not Mesiachas to the person. That's the Pshat Eines Rachmana Patre. It's as if you didn't do it. You didn't do it. It was done, but you didn't do it. So, Eines, meaning like there's three decks. Mezid is a mice that you did mamish with your ratz. Shege, you didn't have your whole ratz in there, but you can't say you didn't do it. Eines is kilu, you didn't touch it, but nevertheless, it touched you. So again, the fact is that your boss touched the davar amatam. So, but you didn't do a mice of touching b'chal. There was a shaychas, but you didn't pay any shaychas, and nevertheless. Tzis to give him beratzen, or be mezid, or if it was be tzis to give him mezid, or be shegi, or filo be'enes, you come to the same way, the same way. That shows that the schwachste negia and the deepest negia, all the same. Look at betum and taina. Dalid gam atitzo shel atume ba nitma adam muchlatesi b'negia l'shaychus l'kedusha. Now, what happens when a person becomes tameh? His nituk from Kedusha is muchlat. His separation from Kedusha is muchlat. Ein atum v'girames bei rak chsarim prati b'shaychus l'Kedusha. Ashu yetza yideza nifse kol shaychus ha'glui l'inyan sheb'Kedusha zu. To say, Kedusha zu mistam Rabbi means to say l'chura the inyanim which are negated to matayah. To say that a person is tameh, he still could have a shaychus to Kedusha in a certain sense. It's different halachas, it depends when, what kind of tumah, etc. But certain yanim, certain mitzvahs he could still do. He still could have a shaychus to Kedusha in one sense. But the Kedusha which is negayat in yanim of tumah and taira, that says the yanim of Kedesh, of Hekdesh, of Beis HaMikdash, of Kachim, all those yanim, we don't say that you're not allowed to have to do with them only in a very deep way. You're not allowed to have to do with Kedusha Zu, with all those inyanim of Kedusha, which are negate halachas of Tumah Taira, neifim muchlet. Like he brings out, Asalechel Dava Kedesh, Dava Kedesh in Yachal is Dam Basar Kupsare, Ve'ed Yesav Al Mikdash Leisav. The shaychas, the nituk, the ishaychas, the nituk that you have from a Dava of Kedusha, the inyanim of Kedusha, which are negate to Tumah Taira, is not just a nituk that you're not allowed to make Dam Kipsari, you're not allowed to become united with the Dava of Kedesh, you're not allowed to eat it and become mamish united with it. It's much more, you're not allowed to even walk into the Beis HaMikdash, which is walking in is a makif tikakash. You walk in, it doesn't become part of you, the Beis HaMikdash, when you walk into the Beis HaMikdash. And even that you're not allowed to do. This is, we're menatik you, we separate you from the inyanim of Kedusha in a total way, a total sense. So what do we see from all the four inyanim bring out one nakudah? That by Tumah and Taira, we're not mechalik between a little bit and a lot. The smallest negia has the same gather as the biggest negia. The smallest part of you that became Tameh has the same gather as in your entire guf becoming Tameh. The smallest nituk from Kedusha is Geirem and total nituk from Kedusha. It's either or. There's no middle ground. Either there's a little bit, and then it's everything, or there's nothing. Vatam l'choseh. B'inyan atumah v'tayre mei ratzon elim begoli. V'lochin nira v'nika behem begoli heder achilik v'ashinim beinav l'mat. By Tumah and Taira, ratzon elyon is mei begoli. Like we said before, the Tumah Taira is mei, it's clear that's a chok. Like you brought in Sifaluf, that by all Tumah and Taira, it's very clear that's in of a chok. Like the Rambam says, it's a chetavadav pasha. It's not a piseichel to say that this inyan should make a person tamei, or another inyan should make a person tamei, another inyan should make a person tired. It's all inyan of chukim. So meila, if it's inyan of chukim, it's clear that it's ratzon el. When you have mitzvahs that have also a time, the Ratzon Elyon is melubash on a time. So you don't see begolui as much that the whole mahus of the mitzvah is Ratzon. By Tum Tayra, it's very begolui, very begilui that the Inyan is Ratzon. So the Meile ein hefresh beim mitzad Eifen Sheiches Adam Latume shgam Idei Sheiches Chetzenis in begashves nigi baum ve beruchnis afil leanse la davetume. Er nit will gamre. Heim begashves kol gefekach wenn beruchnis hefsek Sheiches glulik dus. La dvartom tumer nit will gamre begashves kol gefekach wenn beruchnis hefsek Sheiches glulik dus. Yeah. This is because by Tum Tayra any was Ratzon is mei begilui. Meile there's no difference between how much you connect it to Mentaira. If it's the smallest negia is the same as the biggest negia. Because like we said before, by Ratzon, there's no middle ground. By Ratzon, if you have one prat, you have everything. If you're missing one little prat, you have nothing. So Mela Yezu by Tumantayra is made the Inyan of Ratzon because it's very nikya, this Inyan, it's brought out in the dinim of Tumantayra that the smallest Inyan is like the biggest thing. It's in order 24. It says, the Pnimi says, Inyan Atum Vatayra made Ratzon Elim Begili. He says in order 24, B'lashon HaChassidus Inyan Atum V'Tayra B'chinas Makif. It says that Atum V'Tayra is the Inyan of Makif. Like Al Derech, but before that, the way you become Thomas, beikah through a Makif Tekin Negia. Shenkel Mashal eating Chaylev, the Sheiches is an Eifim Pnimi, becomes a part of you. B'chlal, it says Atum V'Tayra Sheiches to Makif. What's in Negia L'Inyan? It's known that Ratzon is Inyan of Makif. Seichel is Inyan of Pnimi, and Ratzon is Inyan of Makif. Says the Sheiches that Ratzon has to the Evrei Adam is an Eifim Makif. Ratzon controls all the Evrei Adam. If someone wants to move his hand, it moves right away. If someone even wants to be maskul askolis, it says, if a person, if you have a Ratzon, you'll be able to learn good also. You'll end up understanding. Ratzon controls the entire, all the Keiches, all the Evrim. But even though it controls all the Evrim, it's not the Pshat that it unites with the Evrim. It doesn't become part of the Evrim. Says the Seichel Mashal, it goes in the Samsum Lefi Yerech, the Ever HaMeich. Midas is the Samsum Lefi Yerech, the Ever of the Lev. The Lev itself feels the Ava. When a person has an Ava towards something, his Lev Pasha feels Ava. The Seichel, the Meich HaGashmi, feels Seichel. You're not going to say about any one of the Evrei Adam that this Inyan of the Ever, this Inyan is Ratzon. The Evrim are bottled to the Ratzon. The Ratzon controls the Evrim. The Ratzon is a Keich of Makif. Ratzon doesn't unite with the Evrim. Doesn't unite with them. It controls them. That's in Inyan of Makif. Mela, if it says about Tum and Tayra, it's in Inyan of Makifim, it stems that we're saying over here. That Ratzon Elin is Meir Begilui because Ratzon is in Inyan of Makif. Ratzon shows on the Inyanim of L'maylam say the Shtash is Makifim. Inyanim of Seichel, Inyanim of Tam V'das, that's connected to Inyanim say the Shtash is Inyanim Pnimi. Okay. Isvav. Inyan ana b'avedas kol echad v'echad. What does this all mean in Aveda? Amar Azal leite yeshiv v'shekel mitzvah shel teira. V'zoi b'mitzvah kal k'b'chamura. Person has to be zoi in a mitzvah kal k'b'chamura, and you shouldn't go and try to say this mitzvah is more important than another mitzvah. The lashon of Chazal, the first lashon that he brings here, leite yeshiv v'shekel mitzvah shel teira. The theme of the lashon of Chazal is because kala shebekalis is chomer, and chalish b'kalas and chamish b'chamura is hashav. In other words, when the Chazal say, let's say, v'avizor mitzvah kal b'chamura, you could learn, maybe because you don't know which one is kal and which one is chamur. So it's not worth to go in and to make cheshbeinus and say this one's more important than the other. So shouldn't they find make a taich to Chazal? But from the fact that Chazal say very clear that kalish b'kalas and chamish b'chamura is shavin, it means that be'emes they're saying that there's taka no difference between a kalas and a chamuras. This is not the pshat that a person's stam shouldn't go and make a cheshbon. I'm not saying a mitzvah and the gavra, that you have no right to make a cheshbon, which mitzvah is more important than the other mitzvah. It's be'emes the basha shav. The la'adam la'yis zoi b'chol mitzvah b'shav because the mitzvah is a taka shav. But l'chur it's a tema. The Rebbe says in another place, it's a stirim nebe. We're calling them kalish b'kalis, chamish b'chamuris. We're calling it kala and kachamura. He's going to bring here also the next paragraph. We're calling those teira itself is differentiating. This is called the kala, this is called chamuris. Apidin, the kalas means ones which nacha have karasan. Chamuris means they have karasan. But there is a chiluk apitei, kalas and chamuris. And we're saying kalas b'kalas and chamish b'chamuris hashav. No, it's it's not kalas b'kalas and chamish b'chamuris. Just say kol mitzvahs shavs. We're saying there are kalas b'kalas and there are chamish b'chamuris, and nevertheless we're saying the shav. What's the pshat? So he says, "V'av sheshmakom litin eichi tachin sheizor b'dikta kalsh divri seifim be'ez azir sheshlak b'chamer sheb'chamuris." Let's say there's a iser chamor, iser krisis, and there's a dikta kalsh divri seifim. Can you be'emes say that they're the same thing? Apitera, this is called a dikta kalsh divri seifim, and this is called apitera chamer sheb'chamuris. Varia easy it is b'dikta kal, but divri seifim gufa. This is first of all it's midrabanan, but b'chlal apitera. Piklali atera or more mekel in Yana dirabanan, and if it's called a diktu kal, lashon chazal diktu kal shadivre seifrim, that means that within the rabbanon gufetz mamash adavar within the rabbanon gufetz considered any kal is he negia levad bera. L'chura such a inyan is only a negia levad bera. It's only a psashayches chetzenis to that because it's kalas it's a diktu kal shadivre seifrim. Ve'ech shaykh ledemeisela ize iros b'chamuris b'chamuris. Vari chiluk zed the kal is b'chamuris nema b'teira she teiras amas. Teira Lane says there's a musik called diktu kal shadivre seifrim. It means in divre seifrim guf it's called kal. Teira guf says there's something called chamuris b'chamuris. Teira says this kal shebekalas, this chamer shebechamuris. So how can you mun from the person and say, don't differentiate between them, treat them as if they're mamash equal? Are they equal? Are they not equal? They're not equal. And the other hand was saying, no, you have to treat them as if they are equal because the bamas are equal. So what's the pshat? Well, zeh boy, you know, minyan atum. B'tzad v'chenes tam v'das shebe mitzvahs yesh chiluk madreges v'mitzvahs. Chukim, edis mishpatim kalas v'chamuris. B'tzad mahusna mitzvahs sh'dotzen al yinei beim chilukim. Okay, let's just be maz with this a little bit more by Chaveh. This explained a lot in the Rebbe stated in many places, many different signenis. Just to give a little bit more of a easy hezbet to what the Rebbe is saying over here, that there's be'emes two chalakim in the mitzvah. The says tase. Give a mashal, we know that the mitzvahs are called Eivarim de Malka. Mach mitzvahs eser, mach Eivarim de Malka. So we give a mashal from the Indian of mitzvah, we give a mashal from Eivarim of a person. So let's talk about Eivarim of a person. Eivarim of a person is two in Yan. Like we mentioned before, every single Eiver has the fact that he's bottled to the Ratzon of the Nefesh. That's what makes it an Eiver. Look in Tanya Perich of Gimel Mashal, the Rebbe's Magda. What's an Eiver? He says the fact that an Eiver is bottled to Nefesh Adam, that's what makes it. That's the gather of Eiver. So if a person wants to move his foot, move his leg, right away, as soon as all of it say it's b'derech mamela, without even any shuhus man, it goes. That's the gather of Eiver that is bottled to Ratzon and Nefesh. This Inyan you have by every single Eiver. There's no chiluk to one Eiver and another Eiver. You have another Inyan in every single Eiver. Every Eiver has an Inyan meyuchad to that Eiver. Let's say the Me'ach Shabarosh and Yana is the Masklas Kolos. The Lev, Yana is Midas. The Yad is able to touch things, to Petzaya, different, whatever it is. Every single Eiver has an Inyan meyuchad to that Eiver. Keach meyuchad to the Nefesh that's mislabish in that Eiver. Pshat is as there's two the Sichos to Ratzon. There was yesh b'zeh mashein b'zeh. The Sichos that they even have to Ratzon and Nefesh shows a deeper connection to Nefesh on the one hand. The other hand is a mile on the fact that every single Eiver has an inyan miyuchat. Maybe to understand it better, give another mashal. Evel mashal a Rav that learns with the Talmud. When Rav learns with the Talmud, it's not the pshat that he's learning with the Talmud, K'meishahu etzlei, by the Rav. He has to mitzam some sichlei, that the Talmud should understand the seichel that he's learning with it. If his Rav is just going to explain to the Talmud the Inyan the way it's kumteis be'em, it's not a good Rav. The Rav is to learn with Talmudim that no even that it should make sense to them. It's the mitzam some sichlei fi erech. Then you have an Ed and an Nod. The Odin commands the Eved to do Inyanim that are all the Britzein. Who has a deeper shaykhis to who? The Talmud to the Rav or the Eved to the Od? Depends. If you're talking about what darga of the Elyon, the Odin or the Rav, then the Eved has a deeper shaykhis to the Odin than the Rav has than the Talmud has to the Rav. When the Odin tells the Eved what to do, he tells him what's oila b'ritzeinei. It doesn't make a difference what makes sense for the Eved. He's Megala himself to the Eved. He connects the Eved to the essence, to his own etzem. So if you're talking about what Chelek of the Elyon does the Tachten have a shaykhis to, is by a Eved, he has a shaykhis to the Chelek Achi Elyon of the Elyon, to the Chelek Achi Pnimi of the Elyon. He has a shaykhis to the Rav, to the Odin himself. Masha'inkein, a Talmud with a Rav. Besides the Bechlal, the whole shaykhis that he has to the Rav is only to the Seichel of the Rav. But even the Seichel Gufe, he only has a shaykhis to the Chelek of Seichel of the Rav that was Nesamtzim L'fiyerke. Doesn't have a shaykhis to the Etzim of the Rav. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, if you talk about the Tachter. The Tachten's Chibur. How much of a Chibur was there to the Elyon? By a Evet. Does the Evet have a Shaykhis to the Adon? The Evet is bottled to the Adon. But him as a Evet, in his own Gourarie, does he have any Shaykhis to the Adon? Did anything in him change? Him as a person? Does he think now like the Adon thinks? Does he have midas like the Adon has midas? Does he feel the same way the Adon feels? Mamish not. He puts himself aside. He has seichel and he has midas. He has his own seichel and he has midas. He's mevatel his seichel and his midas. He doesn't care about his seichel and his midas. And he listens to the Adon. But what's with his eigen seichel and midas? Does that have any shaykhs to the Adon? Klal not. By a Talmud, the Talmud starts to think the way the Rav thinks. That's who the Talmud is right now. That's the gather of the Talmud. He's a person that was nis'al. He thinks differently. This is, if you're talking about what Chelek of the Elyon, the Tachna as a shaykhs to Avade, when it's an inyan of Ratzel, when it's an inyan of Makif, then the Tachna has a deeper shaykhs to the Elyon. He has a deeper shaykhs, he has a shaykhs to a deeper Chelek of the Elyon. When you're talking about the Sichos HaMata, how much the Mata, the Tachta, himself, changes because of the Ashpa of the Elyon, is punktverkehrt. When the Ashpa is in a Eifen that it's Lefiyerech HaTachten, that the Tachten himself changes. Mashaik, when the Ashpa of the Elyon is that the Elyon bleibt Kameshu, remains in Gidrehu, and is Mashpiyah to the Tachten, then the Tachten doesn't have Ashpa, the Tachten himself. The Tachten comes bottled to the Elyon, but the Tachten, the Gdorim of the Tachten himself don't change. And that is about the Eivrim. If you're talking about Ratzin is the Nefesh Kameshu. It's not the Nefesh the way it's Nesamsim. Mashallah, but it's a Nefesh. It's not a Chelek Mesuyim of the Nefesh. Yeah, if Seichel Moshe is one Chelek, one Prat in Nefesh. The Nefesh is Mesamsim into the Inyan of Seichel. Ratzin is, this is what I want. Nefesh is not Mesamsim in Inyan Mesuyim. So, the fact that all the Eivrim are Shaykhs to Ratzin and Nefesh shows that they have a Shaykhs to the Nefesh Kameshu. But Imeshum Ha, the Eivrim themselves would remain removed from Nefesh. They would be bottled to the Nefesh, but they would be made removed from Nefesh. The fact that the Nefesh is Samson and is made in every single Eiver, an Inyan, a Koyach, which is Shaykh to that Eiver, is Mezach, makes the Eiver himself, is Mahapach the Eiver itself. The Yad is a Yad which has Keich HaMishush. That's the Geder of a Yad. The Reish itself, the Reish, the Mecha Gashmi is Maskal Askalas. Because the Keich HaSeichel is an Inyan which is Mitzumtzum, Lefiyerech the Gdorim of Mech Shaberesh. When it comes out that in Eivrim there's two Inyan. There's the Shaykhs that the Eivrim have to the Ratzon HaNefesh. That's a deeper Chelek of the Nefesh. And then there's a Shaykhs that the Eivrim have to the Keiches Mitzumtzamim of the Nefesh, the Keiches Pratim of the Nefesh, which that's taka a Shaykhs to a more of a Mitzumtzim dike Chelek of Nefesh. But Leidach Gisa, the Shaykhs is peil on the Eivrim that the Eivrim themselves should change. Oh. And then it says by Mitzvahs also. Mitzvahs is Ratzonel, we said before. Mitzvahs is Ratzonel. It's not the Pshat, and we say, the Eibishter doesn't want you to steal, it's because there's something be'etzem wrong with stealing. It's not, Eibazeh, that would mean that we're talking about a chelik, a level in a lakus, which is already shaykh to Gourarie. Eibishter is l'mayla m'kol ha'Gourarie, like we mentioned before in the previous shit. Eibishter is l'mayla m'kol ha'Gourarie. In the way the Eibishter is mitzadatzmi, l'mayla m'seder shtalshlus, it's nicht recht zu sagen, it doesn't make sense. You can't say that there's a mailas and chesrenis. This says good and this says bad. Who created the who says this is a mail and this is a chesar? The Eibishter created it. In Seder Shtalshlus, the Eibishter was mit Samson himself that there should be a certain system. There's Elyon, there's Tacht, there's something that's called good, there's mailas, there's chesrenis. L'maylam in Seder Shtalshlus, there's no such a yana. So Mela, if the Eibishter wants that we shouldn't do gezel, if it would be mitzad the inyan of that gezel is be'etzim a bad thing, that would mean that where does it come from? This isser of gezel from Seder Shtalshlus, from the place in the lakus where there's gedar. The fact that gezel is from Ratzon Elyon, gezel, it means that it's not because gezel is bad that the Eibush doesn't want we should do gezel. Punkt verkehrt. The Eibush doesn't want we should do gezel. That's what makes it bad. It's not that there's something be'etzim wrong in gezel. The Eibush doesn't want us to do gezel. The Eibush wants us to mekayim a mitzvah. The Eibush wants us to do kibbud aveim. Means be'etzim is a good zach to do kibbud aveim. That would mean so that's not pitam v'das. That's not shaykh to say the shtalshlus. A ratzon mamish means that it's only because he wants. So all the mitzvahs have ratzon el. Leidach is the Eibishter wanted that the mitzvahs and that should be pale on the veld. It says la'achar she'ola b'ritzene that you shouldn't do gez, we shouldn't steal, or that there should be a union of kibbud aveim. is geworden that in Gdarim of Welt Gufe, Gezel is a schlechte Sach. The Eibishter didn't want that it should remain something removed from the Gdarim of Welt. Because Taka then, if we would do a mitzvah, we would connect to Ratzon of the Eibishter, not just to say the Shtashos, not just to Inyan Pnimi. We connect to the Makife, to Ratzon. L'mayim say the Shtashos. We connect to a higher level of Likkutei. But what would be in Welt Gufe? What would the Inyan of Gezel become a bad Inyan? The Eibishter wants that the Ratzon should be pale on Welt Alei. Just like in the Eivrim, it's not just that the Ratzon is sheilt on the Eivrim, the Nefesh also connects to the Eivrim, and they themselves connect to Nefesh Adam. So Memela, Mitzad the Ratzon Elyon Gufa was Nesamsim with such a Eivrim that is Melubash in Tam, and it became as Gezel Pashta Schlechte Zach. Mechabit Kibbut of Eim is a good Zach. And the emes is that even though the Pashtas is more understood by Mishpatim, the Sinyan, the Rebbe speaks in other places that there's a Zeicha by Chokim. I don't want to get into it now. But the Rebbe speaks that the emes is every single mitzvah has within it an inyan, more mudgish by mishpat, but every single mitzvah has an inyan that besides for it being Ratzon Elyon, that this is good and this is bad, this is a mitzvah, this is something the Eibishter wants you to do, and this is a Aveda, this is something the Eibishter doesn't want you to do, it becomes Pashat that this is good in Welt, this is Mezachich, and this is Fakert, this brings you down. It's not just that it's an inyan of Ratzon, it affects the Welt alone. Meila comes out that every single mitzvah has two inyan. This is the Ratzon Sheba Mitzvah, the Muhusa of the Mitzvah itself, the Ratzon Sheba Mitzvah, and there's the Tam V'das of the Mitzvah. The Ratzon of the Mitzvah, that's the Muhusa of the Mitzvah, that's the Etzem Inyan of the Mitzvah. Then there's the fact that the Mitzvah now has an Inyan Mesuyim that it's making in this world, a certain Zichuch Mesuyim that it's making in this world, or a certain Fakert, by an Aveda, a certain Schlachtzkeit that it's pale if you do this Aveda. Mila is Meyushev, what Chazal called Tak a certain Inyan of Kal Shebekalas and Chamuchamuch Bechamuris, Dikto Kal Shal Divri Seifim. And Liedach Kisu we say that they're all Shav. So when sich about which Chelek of the mitzvah. If you talk about the Mahus of the mitzvah, it's Ratzon Elyon. Is it can Mechalek in one mitzvah and the other mitzvah, like we spoke about Riches in the previous year. It's not Shaykh Mechalek in one Ratzon and another Ratzon. A Ratzon for the most petty thing is the same Chomor as a Ratzon for the most important thing. Because it's not because it's important that you wanted it, it's because you want. That's the Yisod is just that he wants. So Mela, my nafka minutes, it's an important thing or not an important thing. It starts from Ratzon. There's no nafka minute in one thing and another thing. That's if you're talking about the Mahus of the mitzvah. Nevertheless, Chazal say there's something called Kal Shebekal Chamush Bechamuris, because mitzvah the Tam V'das Sheba mitzvah, mitzvah the Chelek of mitzvah, which is pale on Welt. Avada, every mitzvah has its full. Some mitzvahs are pale. Let's say just like you have in the Evrim, you have the Meich Shabarosh. It's a Caliph for the Inyan of Seichel. It's a higher Evrim. Then you have the Raglayim. It's a Caliph for much lower Kech, or Kech HaYiluch. Says if Chelek Atam V'das Sheba mitzvah, Avada, we can Mechalek in this mitzvah and another mitzvah. But the Etzem Inyan of what the mitzvah is, the mitzvah Etzem is Ratzon, and you can't be Mechalek between them. This is not good to say what they're saying. Avedas Adam Mekayim HaMitzvahs is L'fiyere Chiluke V'Chiluke B'chinas Habgam B'nefesh Chulu Kache V'Chiluke B'chinas Hamirik V'Ayin Chulu. So that is all in Tzchar Mitzvah Chulu. It says that based on what kind of Einish you get for a mitzvah, what kind of kapara you need for a mitzvah, you could see what type of b'gam, how much it affects the person, how much it brings him down. So when you're talking about an avera, how much that avera brought him down, how much it affected him. Same thing by a mitzvah. If you have the schar of the mitzvah, you could see how much it affects the person, how much it brings him up, how much it's pale on it. If you have a mitzvah which has a lot of schar, it's obviously more important, so to speak. It brings him up more. It's maila him more. Mitzad nekuda ikar shal mitzvah shayedei kiyuman. Shal mitzvah nasa mitzvah meloshen tzasa v'chiba. Imakadosh Baruch Harizu b'chol mitzvahs. Lachin gam negiv b'kala b'dav shoyepech Ratzon Elyon negasi l'klos eseshusa b'lekus. Says like this. When you talk about a mitzvah, there's two in al-derech the inyan which we just said about mitzvahs being Ratzon Elyon and mitzvahs being melubash and tam. Al-derech says when you get to the person's shaychus to the Eibishter. There's two inyanim in every single mitzvah. There's the etzem inyan that you become davuk in the Eibishter through doing a mitzvah, and when you do an averich chas v'shalom, you become faket nifret from the Eibishter chas v'shalom. This inyan is the same by every mitzvah and every averich. That is another inyan. There's inyanim prati. There's inyanim prati. There's what kind of lichluch does the aveda do? What kind of tumah does it cause you? What kind of aliyah do you have through this mitzvah? Every single mitzvah is pale, a different zichuch, a different inyan. Certain mitzvahs are help that your seichel should be nisdachach, should be nisal. Certain mitzvahs help that different chelek should be nisal. This inyan comes from the tam v'das of mitzvahs. But the etzem inyan of mitzvahs that comes from the ratzon of mitzvahs is the etzem inyan, are you davik neibish or not davik neibish? And that inyan is b'shav by every single mitzvah. So even though a person could say, look, this mitzvah has a more of an einish, which is more chamor, is the charaye that the pula, says the pula shlilis that this aveda does is much stronger than the pula shlilis that another aveda does that doesn't have such an einish chamor. That's taka true, but that's all if you're talking about the nyan prati. How much you became lower, but in the etzem meaning of being connected to Eibusha, not connected to Eibusha, every single mitzvah is gleich. העירה הנ"ל שייכת וממילא גם מדרשת מכל אחד ואחד, גם הפשט שבפשוטים, ולכן בו העירה זו בכללות הנעשית דין תום ותיירא, ולא הפרטי דינים שבזה. כי שייכת היא גם לאלו דיוד מהקאמר. This העירה is שייכת to everyone, like we said before. That's why it comes from the klolus hanesi of dinei tum v'tayra. That's the meaning of zeis chukas atayra, and not from the different various pratim. Like we mentioned before, even though the Rebbe learns this, does connect to certain pratim in the dinim of tum and tayra, but the etzem eiro is by etzem learned out from zeis chukas atayra. The word zeis chukas atayra. So meila, it's a which is shaychus to everyone, even to people who don't understand prati din. Hergish anal bekiva mitzvah shegam zehiris v'dikta kal udavar anegel klolus kashus v'lakuz bo mitzad etzem ha'neshama shel maylam chnestam v'das. Pisk ma yidu, Yehudi and reitz when yochel yis nifrim malakus vegish ze waits a kol achavach am neisel. Says a person has different halakim of his neshama. We say this nefesh shluach neshama chayichi. Nefesh is the way the person connects to Eibishter and kechamaisa. Ruach is the way a person connects to Eibishter and midas. Neshama is the way you connect to Eibishter and seichel. So should they find how to connect to the Eibishter? Then there's the etzem neshama. The etzem neshama is the etzem meaning that yid is verbunden with the Eibishter. Not a shayches prati in a inyan mesuyim. That's the meaning that is verbunden with the Eibishter. This inyan, mechadgis, it's a much deeper inyan. You be'etzem one thing with the Eibishter, not in a prat mesuyim. A person is connected to another person because he has a seichel that shayches understands his miles. Okay, so his seichel is verbunden with that person, but not his etzem is not verbunden with that person. If a mid is the connection, your mid is the connection with that person. A yid has a chidish of a nefesh is that his mamish one thing with the Eibishter. His etzem is one with the Eibishter, the etzem of the Eibishter. Is the connection that Yid has with the Eibishter with the Chidish of Nefesh, versteht sich a much higher connection than the connection with Nefesh Shlach Neshama, with Madreges, etc. Even though it's a higher connection, is everyone is shayches tafka to that. It's when we talk about Madreges and Giluyim, depends what kind of person you are. Some people have highest level of Seichel, some people have a higher level of Midas. Not everyone can connect to the Eibishter. It's all Madreges, Seichel, Midas, etc. When it comes to the etzem meaning that Yid is connected to the Eibishter, every Yid is connected. Then when it comes to the inyan of Mesiras Nefesh, even Kasher B'Kalim is Mesiras Nefesh. Why? Because this inyan that a Yid just has to be connected and can't stop his connection with the Eibishter, that's by every single Yid. Where does it come from, this inyan, that we should medaktik even in the Zehiris of Dikta Kasher Divrei Seifim, just like we are medaktik in inyan of Chomesh B'Chamuris? If you're talking about your connection to the Eibishter in inyanim Mesuyamim, so there's a taka avada, a very big difference between one mitzvah and another mitzvah, another one aveda and another aveda. We just said before, there's taka differences between how much your seichel becomes mezuchach through this mitzvah, how much your mitzvah becomes mezuchach through a different mitzvah. Every single mitzvah is pale by fanach. But when you're talking about the chidush of nefesh, the fact that a yid is one with the Eibishter, like he says, he brings the pisk vayidu, Yehudi and he writes v'yachal is nifim alakus, that a yid can't be separate from the Eibishter, is this inyan is by a whole mitzvah shop. Every single mitzvah makes you connect with the Eibishter, and every single aveichas v'sham makes you nifrit from the Eibishter. So memela, every single yid is shaykh to this hergish that all the mitzvahs are gleich. Punkt veke. A yid which is not a pasha shebipshutim, he has to remind himself that even though he serves the Eibishter also pitam v'das, he connects his seichel to the Eibishter, connects his mitzvah to the Eibishter, and even though mitzvah the inyan of tam v'das is takes chalkas and mitzvahs, there's a difference between how much this mitzvah is going to help his seichel verbind sich with the Eibishter and his mitzvah should become connected to the Eibishter, etc. Nevertheless, he has to remember that the etzem inyan mitzvah is that he's one with the mitzvah connects with the Eibishter and avera disconnects with the Eibishter. Maybe he has to remember that a mitzvah is all b'shav. But by a pasha b'pshutim chatchila all their life is the chidush of nefesh. It's the chavad that he shaychas to the sin because beside the chidush of nefesh all the mitzvahs are shav. אף שאפשר כמוב למה מדרגה זו שתואר אצלו בגיל קשוס לקדוש ברוך הוא מצד עצם נשמה. סיב במשך עבידו זה כל השנה ובמשך כל היום שעביד זה השם באיף מסודה דווקא. A person is supposed to serve the Eibishter באיף מסודה. It says a person is not supposed to serve the Eibishter shlea pitam v'das. The Eibishter wanted, just like we said before, when they get to the Meila of the Eivin that they're kalim for certain kechas of the nefesh, so the Eibishter wants that the person can make sure should become a zuchach. Different various halakha of the person should become a zuchach. If a person serves the Eibishter na'ifin of yichidish of a nefesh, that means that he's negating his tam v'das. He's not migmezachach his tavadas. He's like an avid lord. Tavadas is not negay. The Eibush the ones that in Gdorim of tavadas gufi should become connected to the Eibush. So but derech we have to say the Eibush be from Mesud. But nevertheless, kshmeir is a benafshe bizmanim yichad and b'shon. Umehem kshekerim pasha zabatera shas vadar chayse batera selaki lekavelo. Rishim unik bavidas shal pitam vadas masha kol shana v'chol hayim. As margish ged lachem v'achsar benigiyas masha b'dav biltiras. It says you have to be ma'ira the sin this hergish was not a yichad. L'mash when we read Parshas Chukas, because when you read something in Teira, klayse batera selaki lekavelo. So mela when we're basic in this sugya, this Indian of this Chukas atera, that mitzvah haratza shel mayla matam vadas is taka meya by a person. This in that mitzvah haratza shel mayla matam vadas is that's pale that even though bechlolis yaved is taka pitam vadas, but selects still by your bepnimius. There's a reishim still that of this nekuda, this hergesh that all the mitzvahs have them ratzah shel mayla matam vadas, and there's no chiluk between one mitzvah and another mitzvah. Here now yesh nagam bavedis ha'adam mazulas. כשבסעסק לקרב הסליבן של בני ישראל השם לתרס מצווה יתוך ויהר בליבה שימייל ויודו יליפל על הזולס שיזוב מצווה חמורס כלולס התרם מצווה די. אין איך שישתדו בשתדס הגדילו והרבו שיהיה הזולס ניזה גם בדיקת קל שדה וסוף מהמצווה נפש. A person could say, I'm doing מקרב another even. So the ikir is to be pale that it should be ניזה נחמש בחמורס or the clothes in מצווה תרם. But it should also do up dikת קל שדה וסייפים, should go מצווה נפש for that. Das ist nicht statt gedekach. That was like what we learned before. The minor for that could be very pashut. The minor is there's no difference between the kash, the seifim, and the chamash b'chamos. So the whole chashbon is because you say that. The Rebbe doesn't say that. The Rebbe is saying even l'shitoscha that you think there's differences, and you'll say it's more important one Indian than another Indian. It's more important to get him to do the inyanim kloli and then to do the diktuk kash the Seifim. He says even l'shitoscha, the Rebbe says even l'shitoscha, it's a mistake. Why? Because al zeh ba amay nana. Kshem sheba b'tzad abiltiratz. I didn't give b'tchal b'davar ra. Hariza all levgech hasham b'chos kashos b'kadosh baruch. That's a b'tzad tevi. Tochen shayidei sheyifel al azul ziris v'inyan shaltein mitzvos. Shei b'chenes negia kala yitziu ayidei zeh matzav b'emek tachas v'yelei amayla mayla ad le'emek reim. Says Rebbe say avart. Even l'shitoscha that it's more important, let's say, than yonim achi chamur. But a yais that a mitzvah, the way it works is that you can't be mechal between one ratzon and another ratzon. It's very zaktir that what's going to bring him to klal skala teira is dafke the chamash b'chamuris. A kleine prat is that can bring him to everything. We'll learn the order in a second. We'll understand it more. But the emes, what is the minor for his tiniest pasha? The minor is there's no chiluk, there's no chalkas and mitzvahs. Who are you to say that this adik to kasha to seifim is more important than chamash b'chamuris? Besides the ratzon mitzvahs, the osha. They're saying more than that. He's saying even if you think that you want him to have chabash b'chamer, you want him to keep as many mitzvahs or to be the most connected to Torah mitzvahs as possible, like what you understand is the most connected to Torah mitzvahs, is a very shaykh that punkt in a gear in a dikta kash de v'seif, and that's going to make his entire being connected to Torah mitzvahs. That's going to make him in ganzen keep kol Torah mitzvahs. What's that kedai spotter? Why if you keep one mitzvah, that's going to make you keep all the mitzvahs? What's the vart in them? It says, he brings in the order 34, there he says like this, Eisach min ha-mitzvah patur min ha-mitzvah. Eisach min ha-mitzvah patur min ha-mitzvah. He says, Taish al pichsidus is, Eisach min ha-mitzvah patur min ha-mitzvah, not just that you're patur from the mitzvah that you're not doing, you have the same, it's as if you're makayim the other mitzvah. Eisach min ha-mitzvah has both mitzvahs, side the mitzvah that he's Eisach in, and side the mitzvah that he's patur from. He has his kilu, he was makayim the mitzvah also. Let's look at the pshat. He says that he brings what the Baal Shem Tov says. Etzem kshatefes b'miktzos etzem b'kul. So that's it. What have we said before that by ratzon, the ratzon for everything is Shabbat. This is if a person has a ratzon for one thing, a ratzon for another thing, it's all one nekud. Everything can't be mechalik between this and another. You can't say. Let's say a person has 3 ritzenis. You can't say I'll only be mekayim one. Okay, at least I was mekayim one. What's the pshat? If it's ratzon, what's the nafkamina one to the other? If it's ratzon not pitam v'das, then you could say, what's the most important? I'll be mekayim that first. It's less important, mekayim that second. If it's ratzon v'shalei al pitam v'das, it's one nekud, every. So either you're being mekayim v'datzeh, you're not being mekayim v'datzeh. The inyan of saying one mitzvah yeah, another mitzvah not, is past the shasazach. So besides for the fact that within one mitzvah gufi, you can't be mechal between the pratim, you can't be mechal between one mitzvah and another mitzvah. Meil says it. If Teira Gufa says that in a certain case you don't have to do another mitzvah, is the pshat is that a potato right now doing this mitzvah that you yet have to do now has the entire union of that Adarach, we said before that let's say there's a case when you could do shutvim, when you could do a chelek of the mitzvah. Tate itself says you could do a chelek of the mitzvah. Because Tate itself says you could do a chelek of the mitzvah, it's as if you did the entire mitzvah. Because if Tate says you could do a chelek, maybe that's the whole ratzon. It's not shaykh to mechalek between a little bit and a lot by ratzon. Either it's the entire thing or it's nothing. So Derech Zeh is bechlal by even between mitzvahs gufa. If Tate itself says that this mitzvah, right now you have to do this mitzvah, and you part from another mitzvah, is the pshat is, yes, that ratzon, b'shorsh, they're all one nekuda, all the ritzainus is one nekuda, the pshat is you have the entire union of ratzon, you have all the ritzainus, you have ratzon of the other mitzvah also then. The main is that is over here. If a person, could be that this person, punkt in a gia, and a dikta kash devre seifim, that will make him connected to all the ritzainus, of all the mitzvahs. It's because all mitzvahs ba'etzim are one, it's one nekuda of ratzon, so maybe being careful and a dikta kash devre seifim, that will connect him to all the mitzvahs. Vanavestas, something else is what's going to bring connected. Maybe it's punkt this nagia that's going to make connected to all the mitzvahs.